Outer Banks just wrapped up its entire series. 5 seasons of treasure, betrayal, and one gone too soon Pogue, all leading to this final hunt. And the finale answers pretty much every question you'd want answered. Whether Groff survives, whether JJ comes back, who ends up with the gold, and what happens to Rafe. Let's break it all down. This video contains spoilers. Season 5 opens in Morocco with the Pogues defeated and mourning JJ, who died at his own father's hands in Season 4. John B wants to walk away and protect what's left of the group. Instead, revenge wins out. They're going after Groff. Except Groff isn't the only threat circling. Anton Finch and his Corsairs are lurking too, and their goals with the Blue Crown are far more personal than anyone realizes yet. Framing this final season as a revenge mission rather than just another treasure hunt is a smart choice. It gives the plot mechanics actual emotional weight instead of just being another MacGuffin chase. Every stop on this journey is happening in JJ's shadow, which keeps the stakes feeling real even amid all the globe-trotting. The Pogues track Groff to Croatia, where he's trying to authenticate the Blue Crown through a specialist named Medici, unaware Medici is secretly working for Anton. Kiara gets handed the gun for the hit, but Groff, always one step ahead, uses a decoy to force her into exposing herself in public. In the chaos, she crosses paths with Anton himself, who offers her a deal. Help him kill Groff, and he takes the crown. This is classic Outer Banks plotting. Everyone's using everyone, and no alliance lasts longer than it's convenient. Kiara striking a deal with the season's other major villain just to get to Groff tells you exactly how far gone she is at this point. Revenge has become the only thing steering her decisions. The plan collapses when Medici tips off Anton directly, sending him straight to Groff and the crown. Groff slips away from Kiara again, and the Pogues get arrested. A time skip later, most of them are back home with light consequences, except Cleo, who's deported. Cleo's deportation is a smart way to raise the emotional stakes without another action set piece. It's a consequence that actually sticks for a while, which this show doesn't always commit to. It also sets up her return later as something that has to be earned rather than just assumed. As Sarah's 20th birthday approaches, John B gets into trouble selling weed that isn't his, leading to a cat-and-mouse chase with the real owners. Meanwhile, Sarah reconnects with her estranged mother and discovers BLACKBEARD'S SCYTALE, supposedly holding incantations that can raise the dead. The Bring Back the Dead mythology is doing a lot of emotional heavy lifting here, obviously tied to Kiara's grief over JJ. It's a bold swing for a show that's mostly stayed grounded in adventure thriller territory rather than anything overtly supernatural. And how the show ultimately handles that promise matters a lot for whether this payoff actually lands. The crew tracks the Corsairs to Azerbaijan, decodes the SCYTALE, and finally confronts Groff as he attempts to steal all their retrieved gold and flee by sea. In the middle of a raging hurricane, Kiara and Groff have their 4th and final confrontation, and this time she doesn't hesitate. She pushes him overboard into the storm. Is Groff dead? The show leaves it deliberately ambiguous in the moment, but let's be honest about the pattern here. Outer Banks has faked father figure boat deaths twice already, Big John, Ward, so on its own this scene wouldn't confirm anything. What actually seals it is that Season 5 has been confirmed as the final season. Unless a spin-off shows up down the line, there's no narrative reason left to walk this one back. Groff is gone for good. What makes this scene land, though, isn't the uncertainty about survival. It's that this is Kiara's 4th encounter with Groff, and the first time she isn't overwhelmed by circumstance or emotion. She's fully in control. That's the actual character payoff, regardless of whether his body ever washes up. Mid-storm, Kiara has to choose between saving her own life and holding on to the gold. She lets it go. For a moment, it looks like hundreds of millions of dollars are gone for good, until the show reminds you these are, at the end of the day, professional treasure hunters. Over the next 2 years, they dive, search, and recover it all. Having Kiara choose survival over money is a small but meaningful thematic beat. It's the show quietly separating its heroes from every kook and conman who's ever chased this treasure purely for wealth. The eventual full recovery keeps the ending satisfying without undercutting that moment of genuine sacrifice. The crown doesn't actually raise the dead. What Kiara gets instead is a vision. A stream of shared memories with JJ that ultimately delivers a message about moving forward rather than staying stuck in grief. The show handling its supernatural tease responsibly. Rather than cheapening JJ's death with an actual resurrection, it gives Kiara something more honest, a form of closure generated by her own mind rather than genuine magic. The comparison to Carla Limbri being healed by a fake artifact earlier in the series is a smart callback. This show has already told you it doesn't really believe in literal magic, just the power of belief itself. Anton loses his own shot at resurrecting his daughter once the meteor shower passes, and Kiara, genuinely believing the crown worked for her, tells him its power is real, just not the way he thinks. The Pogues interrupt before he can kill her, wounding him and forcing him to flee, crown in hand. Anton walking away with false hope rather than real magic is a quietly tragic ending for him. He's chasing the same impossible thing Kiara just let go of, except he never gets the emotional resolution she did. He gets an object instead of peace, which is a fitting, almost melancholy note for a villain defined entirely by grief he never processed. With the gold recovered, the Pogues fund the town's hurricane recovery. And, in a plot beat the show doesn't fully explain beyond money talks, somehow get Cleo cleared to re-enter the country. Pope finally lands his proposal, and Cleo says yes. The Cleo re-entry resolution is admittedly a little hand-wavy, but it's the kind of convenient wrap-up a series finale earns the right to lean on. Pope finally getting the proposal right after his earlier fumbled attempt is a nice, earned payoff for a relationship that's had real ups and downs across the series. The finale closes with two milestones, Pope and Cleo's engagement, and John B. and Sarah welcoming their first child. Rather than continuing the kook tradition of exclusive elite gatherings, the Pogues throw a party that includes the entire town across every social line. The show has always drawn a hard line between kooks and Pogues, wealth and community, and ending on an inclusive celebration is the clearest possible statement that the Pogues never actually wanted to become what they were fighting against. The treasure hunting was always secondary to this. Rafe breaks Sophia out of jail, then chooses to help rescue Shoop from a fallen tree instead of running. He admits guilt over killing former sheriff Susan Peterkin. Shoop, understanding how much of Rafe's behavior was shaped by Ward's corrosive influence, strikes a deal. Rafe can walk free if he never returns to the Outer Banks. Rafe and Sophia head to Rio with a yacht and some money. Rafe's arc across the whole series is genuinely one of the show's better character journeys, and this ending earns it. He doesn't get fully forgiven, he doesn't get to stay, but he gets a version of accountability that fits who he's become rather than who he started as. Outer Banks Season 5 sticks the landing about as well as a 5-season treasure-hunting soap opera reasonably could. Groff's death gives Kiara real closure. The Blue Crown subplot avoids cheapening JJ's death with a cheap resurrection. And every major relationship, Pope and Cleo, John B. and Sarah, even Rafe and Shoop, gets a resolution that feels earned rather than rushed. Drop a like if that finale gave you the closure you needed. Subscribe for every Outer Banks breakdown. That's a wrap on the whole series.